Non sumus amici, and welcome to the machine. You better know that's right. This is another episode of Notes from Underclass, and we talk about a lot of things on the show. I talk about Stanley Kubrick just for fun. Okay, nobody's psycho obsessed, but when he showed the monolith is known as orthogonality. It's an orthogonal shape, just meaning it's vertical and there's an XY axis, but there's also the Z axis. Okay. So when I came here, I was working on something that had to do with Stanley Kubrick, and it was going to be a musical or a short film about the ghost of Napoleon haunting Stanley Kubrick on the night of his death. Okay, so I wrote a song about Stanley Kubrick in the 1980s. Then in the 1990s, right before the film was made, I was at Duart Film Processing, and Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman were there. And I walked in the room. Nicole was busy, and Tom, in case you guys don't know, a lot of times they'll have a no-look policy when it comes to A-listers. I've heard this before, okay? But I look right at them because they're the only people in the room. Like, I don't buy into it. Like I said, I work with Demi Moore. You think I wasn't checking out that keister? Oh my God, she's gorgeous then. She's gorgeous now. Winning awards. Blah 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 blah. Okay. So something very specific happened. There are Fed rats in TikTok. There is no doubt. So something very specific happened yesterday. I picked something up off the ground. And today, when I went to TikTok, the avatar for, whatever entity was the picture of the thing that I picked up off the ground. You understand? Way too specific, right? So again, people at TikTok, it's been known that Fed rats, they're completely riddled with Fed rats, okay? There's a lot of things happening, and I want to talk about some of the things that I missed out on last time. And again, I have two properties for Holly Weird. One's called Linoleum Blown Apart. One is called LA 2044. Beep, 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 beep. My next episode, I don't know what it's going to be. It'll probably be LA 2044. I really love that property just because Linoleum Blown Apart's kind of like you reach a certain level, then I have to do something else with that property, meaning like there's other things to do. All right. Let's get to it. So I talk about bacteria. There is C. elegans. It's not very elegant. It's called C. elegans. Canarhabditis. I'm not kidding. That's what it's called. Canarhabditis. There's a B and a D and a T and an IT, right? Information technology. Canarhabditis elegans, C. elegans. That's a bacteria. That's a bacteria that came from the guano. So I'm telling you things incrementally. That's why it was called a BAT virus. It's from the guano. It's not just from the guano. It's from the bacteria that develops in the guano. I told you before that the biblical Christ, picked up soil off the ground. He put it on somebody's eyes. And suddenly the blind man could see. It was bacteria in the soil. There's different kinds of bacteria that can develop from different things. Okay? So that's all I can get into right now. One was called Thermus aquaticus. That's the one that is used in the PCR test that I was talking about in the last episode. You guys have to piece this stuff together, okay? And it's capable of, high, they call it Thermus aquaticus. So it's like it comes from the water. It came from Yellowstone International Park. They use it in the PCR test, but not in the ones that we're supposed to be taking. It's a different PCR test, where you send in your DNA, and it's in a laboratory only, right? So when I talk to, I don't want to get it wrong, I always call it Chat GPT, but I think it's Copilot. When I was talking to Copilot, I told you I have a fling with Bing every once in a while. Sorry, McGoogles. Boy, I tell you. I got them to admit that it's possible to have bacteria in a test that you take. Okay? Muy importante. So do with that information what you will. And if someone goes to take my schmangy down, I'm going to have to... Right? Oh boy, we're 5 minutes in. Guys, thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for watching. I get all my stuff from PubMed, published medical journals. I get it from Wikipedia, published medical journals. Okay, so you have the biblical notion of the rod and the staff. What resembles a rod and a staff? Bacteria. There's bacteria known as obelisk. You could look into this stuff yourself. Please do. Obelisk bacteria. What's an obelisk? Stand straight up. And then what's a staff? It has the cane. It's bent. These are two different types of bacteria. Okay? So, and again, I laugh. I say, go ahead and start a cult. But when I make jokes like that, I want to make sure you understand. I don't want to see people get hurt. Unlike the Schadenfreude that the people in the government gangsters participate in. I told you what happened to me down in Florida. It was horrific. It was horror. They did this for 2 years straight. And they can't figure out why I didn't self-harm. And because I didn't, I'm on a targeting list. And I believe I told you guys before that this list is also in a computer. Again, that lends itself to me seeing this image on TikTok of something that I picked up, right? They're using SK2. It is called neurological marketing. Why is it called neurological marketing? There's something about your neurological system that is being tracked and monitored. Okay? Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but if you're my wife, the drummer of the grievance committee, you like torturing people. And that's what they did. They could use it to torture you, and they did. And it was awful. They were giving me Tourette syndrome. I would just start screaming. They're like, you're yelling at this person. That's what they did. That's what they did to TJ Miller. Okay? That's why they did exploratory surgery, and that's why they named a polyp off of him. What is the first thing I tried to do? I tried to go get help. I said, there's something wrong here. I didn't suspect my wife, right? But if I did, you could discredit me, right? Because I have a criminal history I told you, misdemeanor mobster bullshit. I was talking to this gangster out here, bro. Like, he's aged out. He never went to the penitentiary. Okay? There's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of people out there who don't use the penitentiary as a bragging point. I don't think there's anything to brag about. I think there's a lot of innocent people in prison. Now, I used to whistle past the graveyard. That's what makes my book so great and genuine. It's called Two-Legged Animal. It's always linked in the description. I'm a songwriter and a writer and an actor, whatever. People can wear many hats. I always knew this. And that's what makes my book so good, is because it's so genuine, it's so honest, right? And then once my wife left, there was full tilt boogie on me. Oh, and that's what I was saying. I was whistling past the graveyard, but that was before I realized that they target you and they'll lie online, and that prosecutors will bury information to put someone. If you're a prosecutor, why are you lying and hiding information? If your client is innocent, what does that have to do with you? You see what I mean? This is all ego driven. This is all guys showing up in my life for well over 2 years, the size of linebackers. Who's a human wall? Where's a human wall going to get hired? They're going to get hired at the police department. They need human walls, right? These guys are too dumb to play sports. They don't have any coordination, but they can go like, da, 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 da. Ain't that right? Okay. So again, I never thought I was harder, smarter, better, faster than anyone. Now I know that I am. Now I know that I am, because I am an egalitarian. We're all born equal under unequal circumstances, but things change. That's why I'm here in Hollywood, right? Because of my previous experience. That's why I'm here. I'm not some schmuck showing up. Hey, look what I got. I wrote this. See? I came here first, and I wrote that. I wrote Linoleum Blown Apart in 2 years. Oh, I got another good one for you guys. Listen to this. I hope I can get all the information out. Panama, Panama, Panama. You guys know about this Hollywood writer, and this guy was a paid writer, so it wasn't like an interloper. Hey, fellas. This guy was a paid writer. And he was investigating Panama to do a story. Oliver Stone, he interviewed Manuel Noriega. Panama Canal's in the news. I'm trying to... Pierce Brosnan did a movie about Panama. It was very similar to Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. There was an illness, an outbreak of something really nasty in Panama. And you also have the Panama Papers. Okay? There's a there. Obviously, it has to do with shipping. Everyone wants to put down that one. He's a politician, Mitch McConnell. He looks like a turtle. The ships that his wife owned, they were carrying cocaine. It's just, And again, you can't call him a cocaine dealer. Well, I can. And I don't care. Riddle me this, Bat Guano. How come I paid in 1980s Detroit, cocaine was $100 a gram, and it's still $100 a gram to this day? It's untouched by inflation. Right? It's the black market, whatever. But you see what I mean? And those channels are always open. So, and again, drugs should be legal. It's just ridiculous. But, so we have this Panama connection. You have the Panama Papers. Now, the series of events are this. For some reason, this Hollywood writer caught the wild hair. And he's like, I want to write something about Panama. Like, he's written for television. He's been paid for writing for television. Just like me, I worked as an actor and I got paid as an actor. And I worked as an actor and then sometimes I didn't get paid. That's why I became a production assistant, so I could learn all aspects of the job. I'm the one who had to go pick up Fisher Dolly and track and Vaseline. Right? I had to pick up all that stuff. I understand it. I understand. Right now, they got stagehands out there doing the Elton John thing. Man, I'd love to be here for that. I got an Elton John story for you, too. It was in my blog. I had a blog called 50 and Broke, but of course, people in where I was working at, all they can do is go, these people, these men, they're all passive aggressive. That's a female trait. But anyway, so this Panama, there's a writer right here in Hollywood. He went down to get information about Panama. This is before, or I'm sorry, it's got to be around the same time that Oliver Stone was interviewing Manuel Noriega, okay? And so Oliver Stone never made anything about Manuel Noriega. And I think the reason why is because this guy went down there. This is before the Panama Papers were released, which happened in the double aughts. So that's a 20-year stretch. These guys were researching this stuff in the 80s, right? You know when Oliver Stone was big. The name of his book is called Chasing the Daylight. That was going to be the name of my production company. Chasing Daylight, not the, but I think his book is called Chasing the Daylight. We used to say Chasing the Daylight, unless his book's called Chasing Daylight. Whatever. But that would have been my production company. And then I also had Pizza Rat because I loved the rat I lived in New York, in the subway in New York, eating that piece of pizza. That's a great meme. Anyways, so you have the release, you have Oliver Stone dropping it. The guy who was researching it, they found his body and his hands were cut off. Okay? That's like a sign of the mob. But the sad part is, you don't know what this guy was going to write. They just did it to deter people from writing about it. Then later on, Pierce Brosnan did a film about Panama. Panama film, Pierce Brosnan. Oh, man. Oh my God. I'm so terrible. I still didn't spell it right. I'm so terrible. The Tailor of Panama. Look when it came out, 2001. Okay? I told you it was like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, right? So that's actually a little bit closer to the timeline of Oliver Stone and this guy getting his hands cut off than it is anything today. I'm the one who found out that there was this mystery illness in Panama, very similar to the mystery illness that occurred in Cuba. Okay? So anyways, we're going to keep going. I call it the Internet of Stranger Things. Okay? I'm studying about the Wolfram language also. And there was one other thing in here. Thermus aquaticus. All right? It's bacteria. It has to do with worms. Look at your digestive system. What is it? It's called GI. Something intestinal tract. Either way. Right? Right? You would get ringworm. Remember? Oh, I feel hungry all the time. You have ringworm. It has to do with worms. It has to do with bacteria. This is why Elon Musk said USAID is a bowl of worms. That's why he used that phraseology. I'm here to tell you, if I was a partisan, zealot, why would I concentrate on the other team? I'm a member of this team. Obviously, if I wanted to be a member of their team and concentrate on what they do, I would join their team. I'm on this team. My bead wouldn't be on their team. My bead would be on my own team. Do you understand this way of thinking? I would be working on my own party to correct these things. What people don't understand is Silicon Alley on the left. The leftists at Silicon Alley thought for sure, they were probably told this, that Kamala Harris was going to do what Elon Musk is doing now. They were convinced that Kamala Harris was going to do this, that she was going to AI automate government and rock it out. But that didn't happen for whatever reason. Who knows? Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? Now, I heard this from Sam Altman himself, okay? That's why I intake a lot of this information. This is notes from Underclass, just like Dostoevsky's notes from Underground, okay? Now, who is the mayor of Los Angeles? I just moved here, Karen Bass. I'm studying a lot of things, guys. So Karen Bass went where? She went to Guyana during the fires. You know why? No, because everyone's like, she wasn't here. It's her duty to be here. She should have been here. She should have known that she let this person go. Burr, burr, burr. I like the fire chief, just to be honest with you. I like this fire chief lady. Boy, anyone who could step up and be articulate, unlike my ex-wife and, people like Clifton, the drummer to the grievance committee, morons like that, who I thought were my friends. I apologize. It won't happen again, especially to the guys in Son of Sam, especially to the guys in ALD, these people, I never had anything against you guys, but I found out that you guys were running it up with cops. Not cool, man. Not cool. So Karen Bass went to Guyana. Why? She was told to go to Guyana. Who tells a mayor what to do? And you're going to listen. Listen, right? I got these Fed rats up my keister. I could care less. So? I've never changed my behavior once because of police anything. I never have. You know, when you're a kid, we used to see the big four. They were four guys the size of linebackers. These guys were all over me from 2017 till 2019. Then the guy I'm working with asked me to get him drugs. They're all rats. Why are you asking me to get you drugs, bitch? You never left the nest. They were in Romulus. Clifton is right in Westland. Clifton put behavioral malware on a $2,000 computer of mine. That's how I busted him. That's why you can't care about money. Who told her to go to Guyana? You want to hear the sad part? It's in West Africa. You know what they have there? Tributes to slavery. They can't let it go. They just can't let these things go. You have to. It's fake. It's fake. Different people resonate at different frequencies at different times of their life. You got to understand something. What I told you, the left, they use neurolinguistic programming. That's spellcraft. They don't even know. They're just repeating because they're parrots. Okay? I mean, people on the right do it too, but I noticed it significantly, right? You have to understand what your intention was. And that's what a flat-foot, lummox, LARPer, and loser, and lunkhead, right? Bureaucrat, government gangster, will never understand. I didn't know that I was nothing more than my background check to my wife. You should have told me, because I wouldn't have wasted 7 years with your smelly ass. I didn't know that I was nothing more than that to ex-friends of mine, Hicks, and anybody else. Rogers, all you guys. I didn't know that I was that to you. Okay? I know it now, so it's on site. And I'm not talking about Rogers' family, and I'm not talking about Hicks's family. I'm talking about you gentlemen. See, this is what they do. They try to hide behind their family. That's what my wife did. Oh, my brother this, my brother that. Her brother's this big lummox the size of a linebacker. It doesn't impress me. I never changed my behavior once, ever. My intentions are true. And that's where you fucked up. And I talk about my sisters being the witches of Eastland. That's Eastland Mall, where we used to live by. It takes 3 witches to form a coven. Look at the Kardashians. And look at the character named Trinity from Matrix. A female character. They call her what? Trinity. 3. She has the power of 3 women. My sisters could have anything. The world is everybody's oyster, but they're all fighting each other. Guess what you're going to have? This much. You're not going to have anything. And you're sure as hell not going to sacrifice me. Don't sacrifice me to get it. That's what the guys connected to the police department in Detroit and the death of David Strouder from Majesty Crush, another band just like ours. We didn't play similar music, but they used his death to catalyze getting the music. Clifton still has my music. He still has all the masters. I trusted him, but because I can't lug around the masters. I believed him when he was lying to me, just the way I believe my wife. I don't lie to people. This flatfoot came up to me out here. The first thing out of his mouth is like calling people liars. A flatfoot bureaucrat, lummox, badge, they have to assume that everybody's a liar. That's no way to go through life, man. I would never go through life. And then turns out on the stand, they lie. That's very scary business. Now, like I said, I was whistling past the graveyard. Yeah, sure. Who doesn't? I was pushing it, right? I did a lot of things, but my intentions were good, right? You're taught things and things are imprinted on you. Now, I was talking before about the discrete Fourier transform, okay? So I don't believe there's somebody behind the scenes. That's what they tell you when they're trying to put you down and call you a conspiracy theorist. Well, who's behind the conspiracy? Right? When you can figure these things out, then you realize that during the fires here in California, the transformer flipped and it went from voltage, that's reading your voltage, that, oh, I need to increase the voltage. I have to turn my AC up, my heating, cooling, right? It went from voltage to a frequency. And that frequency is undetectable. And that's what contributed to the thermal reaction during the fire. That intensified the fire. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. There is no, they want, the, it's like you're going to picture like Elon Musk / Jeff Bezos type. I'm the bad guy. I'm pulling the trigger, or I'm yanking the cranker, whatever. Right? No, that's not how this system works. I listened to Andrew Bustamante, and if I'm saying it, he does Everyday Spy. He's CIA. And he comes out and he tells you, well, when you get hired at these companies, they're hiring you for your connections inside the government. Okay? That's why I'm not impressed. I'm a street guy. I'm from the streets. That's how I talk to this guy out here. He's a street guy. He's not a government gangster. He didn't do any prison time. I don't see him being harassed the way I was. My buddy Bob moved to New York. Hey man, I didn't see you going around rat bones and bitches like that, going around putting up graffiti about my friend Bob. My friend Bob was in my band before he was in Son of Sam. All these guys, rat bones, Lacey, Paul Sin, call him on the phone. Call Paul Sin on the phone. You think you just called the Abbey. All these guys, can you stop? You hear my phone going off? Yeah. Oh, you're saying the wrong thing. Oh, you're saying the wrong thing. Right. I thought all these guys were my friends. They tried to have me killed. And I talk about it on my show. I'll talk about it anytime. I name them by name. It's on site. It's on site, man. You got no business doing this kind of stuff. And then, like I said before, this guy, Keith from the Glass Heroes, allegedly stole my songs. And they were given to him by Clifton. This is all by design. Okay? These are all these creeps working together against me. And that's why they have PD, Police Department, plausible deniability. Because one of them will do one thing, then the other one will do another thing. And you always want to think that there's one person back there cranking the handle. There's not. It's a group of people working together. So when the fires go off and these transformers flip from what? Voltage, which is incremental, to cycles per second, which is more like I always talk about the pendulum because the pendulum always swings back the other way. Okay? So we'll just leave it at that. There is a National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. There's also a Space Force. Why don't you go read the executive order that was signed for Space Force? Okay? They're revamping the entire government. They're doing things that was promised, that Kamala promised them to do. They think that the people on the left are the progressive ones when it comes to tech. Right? So riddle me this, Bat Guano. Do you assume that young people, soldiers, are going to go to another country and steal their stuff and invade people's houses and steal their personal belongings? No. You assume that the soldiers who are in their 20s, teens and 20s, are going to go to another country and they're going to bring democracy and they're going to do the job that they're asked to do. Well, you have to assume the same thing about the kids in Doge. You have to assume the same thing. Why are you assuming that they're stealing people's information? What are they going to do with it? They're ferreting out the corruption, right? They're ferreting it out. So I got a lot of stuff here. What is this about the Falklands? I always like bringing up the Falklands digital satellite news gathering service. Yeah, that's what they use. Everything has been digital for years and years and years. Now, let's end on this. It's called a Sentinel event. This is the scariest goddamn thing ever. I'm telling you now, the stuff that I look up online, it's scarier than any movie. That's why I'm working in Hollywood, So I can bring you these two projects, Linoleum Blown Apart and LA 2044. Look up a sentinel event for yourself. It is something that happens after somebody leaves the hospital. Why? Why? These things are terrifying. And people end up dying after they've been hospitalized. Okay? And a lot of times it's for a trip and fall. So I'm going to leave it there. I want to thank you very much for watching my show. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. And I have a lot to say and I want to go a lot longer, but we'll just leave it here. Cheers, guys.